All right, Edem, welcome to the program, man.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking time out to be with us.
It's an honor to be here.
I'm excited to have you here.
No, I'm really excited every time I enter the VOA building. I say this every time because VOA is like my childhood superhero. My dad was always listening to VOA, so anything VOA, I'm always honored to be here.
Well, we're happy to have you here. Welcome home, buddy. Welcome home. Let's delve into it. We'll start off with what you're doing here in the United States. I've seen you post. You've met a couple of big people. We're going to delve into that. Talk to me about what brings you to the U.S., man.
So I'm in the U.S. in partnership with my team, to really just accelerate my presence here visually, my presence here organically. And that's the main reason I'm here, for media tours, appearances, activations, networking. And it's safe to say America has been nice to me since I got here. The weather has been nice to me.
You came at the right time.
Yeah. So it's been great. It's been great.
Well, to delve into your networks, once again, I keep looking at your Instagram and I keep seeing big faces pop and pop and pop and pop. I saw you with Swizz Beats. I saw you with the folks from the Grammys. I saw you with Jim Jones. Talk to us about these networks, man. What's going on?
Well, I mean, network is a really important part of the business. And I've known this coming up as an artist, and so my team has been putting together some pipelines to some people of interest for collaborations, not only for me as an artist, but I think it's a very opportune time for us to build bridges between the continent and black people in the diaspora, and also send out the word of how we are embracing people who are black from here coming back to the continent. And so all this and more is the reason I was in LA to meet Swizz Beats. I also met Paul Exton, who is the producer of Narcos, the series, to look at probable collaborations of how African music can be put in Hollywood music and movies, which I think is quite a huge influence on us growing back on the continent. And so I think that movies would also be a way we'll continue to push the Afrobeat culture, to push our fashion as Africans, to push our food and our lifestyle. And so we left LA and then we moved to Harlem. Sort of like a contract where you leave a bougie place and you go to the hood to pay respect to Dipset's own Jim Jones. Also had conversations and did some stuff in the pipeline that hopefully the world will check out.
We're ready for that. Well, speaking of Afrobeat and how successful it's becoming, you guys are arguably on the forefront of what we would call global entertainment, right? But this is something that's been in the works for a very, very long time. How do you feel seeing it right now? You guys are doing stadiums everywhere now.
Yeah, I think this is the greatest time to be alive as an African artist. Growing up, you will be in the club, and don't get it twisted, I love other forms of music, but you hear sessions in the club dominated by other art forms. And so for you to now walk into the African clubs and literally hear music from Kenya, Tanzania, Nigeria, Ghana, the Congo, and across board all through the night, and then leave the shores, come to the US or go to Europe, and it's the same thing. It's a very powerful time to be alive because we cannot underestimate that influence. Other forms of music influenced us for generations, and so the power of Afrobeat creating identity for us as one people is quite powerful because politics didn't do that. Movies didn't do that. Technology didn't do that. So I think it's the right time. It's a great time for Afrobeat. It's also a great time for us to realize that we have to push identity. It's a great time for tech people. It's a great time for football. It's a great time for us to exhibit our lifestyle and clothing. And so it's just a very powerful time. And I'm excited. especially with Nigerians in the forefront, with no disrespect to Ghanaians, and we also pushing and South Africans pushing. It's an amazing time, man. It's an amazing time.
Speaking of the networking and the links between black culture or the diaspora and Africa, I know Ghana, you just credited Nigeria, but Ghana right now, you guys are at the forefront of entertainment.
Yeah,
the festival, the Black Star Festival.
The Black Star Line Festival, right. Afrochella now,
right.
Afrofuture,
right.
Afro Nation.
Right.
Every November, I have a festival called Edem Fest. We took a break right before COVID, we took a break, or right around COVID, and then we are resuming this year. And so the year of return has become something that is like a gateway to the entire continent. Ghana has become like a gateway every year from November, December, January.
Ghana.
Ghana is active from day to day through the night, and so you see all the stars from across the world. And I think whilst we do that, we need to let them embrace who we are and not adopt what we used to see from the West. I think that's quite key, and I must say that it's been an amazing years of year of return and beyond the return. And I welcome everybody to the continent, of course, with Ghana as the gateway.
Right. No, but I'm really curious, what kind of impact does that have on Ghanaian artists? Not just Afrobeat, because people like to lump everything in Afrobeat. There's different genres.
Yeah, there's Amapiano, there's Zouk,
right.
There's High Life, there's Afrobeat. And so you guys try to see all the various art forms that we have on the continent.
Right. Do you think that the spotlight on Afrobeat or the spotlight on Africa in general is helping people from different genres, not just the typical sound that we think is Afrobeat?
I think there's a lot of more work to be done, but I think that Afrobeat is the opener, just like the way you might fall in love with reggae and then go and out of that love for reggae, you find calypso, you find reggaeton, you find dancehall. And I think so Afrobeat sort of like is leading the way, but when people come into the continent, they'll begin to experience, or maybe when you come to Ghana, then you'll be exposed to High Life, you'll be exposed to some palm wine music. So it's always good to have one lead the way, but people always experience other art forms on the continent. And the impact on artists in Ghana is unbelievable, because now you have a one-on-one chance to give experience to people here who are in your home, and where you don't have to explain who you are, what is your caliber, what is the level of your talent. And I always say there has always been talent on the continent, from dance to music to art and anything. There hasn't been enough exposure.
I'm always curious about music from the continent. A lot of artists have found it, or they celebrate the fact that they're being embraced in America. Is that an important thing?
I think that we should look at it well. We should look at it well, because I don't think being embraced should be confused with validation. Okay. An African artist doesn't want to be validated by their music being played, but they want to make sure that they have an impact, and a very cultural impact. And I think that is where we should look at it from. And also from the business angle, it is always important to be in ecosystems that have done it for a long time, where the structures are very solid and very right. And so it's about the business and the impact. But I don't think that we should look at it from being embraced as in a form of validation for the continent, because we are 1.2 billion people, right. and we can really just be on the continent and hold our own. But life is about a conquest like Napoleon Bonaparte, and so we are taking every wall down.
I like that.
Yeah, we are taking every wall down.
Let's delve into the music. You recently put out Pundits.
Yes.
Break us down the song. What's up?
Yeah, so Pundit is a song just speaking to...
you sound like you were taking jabs at people.
I was really taking jabs at people who sort of like have a very small ambition, and then despise people who have limitless ambition in a quest. And so Pundit came from me coming to the Grammy and a couple of people talking about the fact that they think that I shouldn't be at the Grammy. Now, the funny thing about life is that nobody is more deserving than another. You know, the world is blessed, and so opportunities can come to anybody. But somehow, people always think they are more deserving to be in your seat than you have, without really looking at your record and looking at the amount of sleepless nights you put in to be there. So Pundit is for people like that, and that goes for anybody on any platform. And I'd rather speak about things through the music than sit on interviews to talk about it.
I feel you, I understand.
Yeah.
But to stick to the music, of course, you have a long track record of music, but you don't put out music as constantly as you do. Is there a reason behind that? Because and here I'm just talking about album. Your last album was what, 3 years ago?
Yeah.
Is there a reason behind that?
Yes. So the reason is because I'm an independent artist. And when you are independent, you need to really position yourself properly with marketing plans, PR plans, raise the budget, and then execute. And so I think that has been one of the reasons. The other reason is that every time I release, I'm always looking for the next level. And so up until I get the next level and position the sound properly, I'm always really careful about it. And I'm also coming from a proper album era, when we're in an era of people just consuming music on the go. But I'm sure with all that I am doing, once we release the next project, oh man.
Is it coming anytime soon?
Yes, once we release the next single, it's going to be crazy, because the whole time I've been in hibernation, there has been amazing music recorded.
Now, you've been in the game for a long time, and you've put a lot of artists on. One thing I have noted, especially when we talk about the ascension of Afrobeat, is the younger artists seem to be the one who are getting all the glory. Yes. In comparison to folks like you, whose works they're actually reaping off. Yes. First of all, how do you feel about that?
I think that has always been how nature works. For a Dibanj, or for maybe, let's say, a Kojenchi, or let's say a Samini, who is doing dancehall, talented superstar, has been around for a long time. Other people come, and other people take it to other places. But I think that when we revisit this conversation, it will be different because of what is about to happen.
Okay, we're ready. We're ready.
When we put out material, my sound has changed. The direction, I'm always challenging myself, and so I can't wait to just show people. But it's amazing. Jackie, Black Sherif, and I can mention other names that I think people should look out for from Ghana. Amazing talents coming up. There's Darko Vibes, there's Kelvin Boy, there's Kinney Eyes, one of the young brothers from the region that I think people should look out for.
So now to shift from the music, man, you recently put out something on social media where you kind of told people, well, you didn't say actually much, but you hinted to people that you might want to tap into a little politics here and there. What's up with that, man?
Yeah, so I did a social experiment, which like ripped my phone apart. When I say ripped my phone apart, from all the corridors of power. My phone was blowing up, all my political friends. I think it also ruffled some feathers, because I think people thought I was coming for their spot. You know, so a few of my political friends didn't talk to me for days, you know, until they finally realized it was an experiment. So I was just there, and I was thinking about the continent. I was thinking about Ghana. I was thinking about the political landscape, and I was having just conversations with myself. And I decided to put out a flyer for the opposition party. You know, so I actually went to do a photo shoot.
Just for that?
Just for that.
Okay.
I did a photo shoot, and I told the team, and then the flyer came out. And when the flyer came out for the opposition party, what I realized was that in the comment section, people who love, because both parties love me, of course, because they're all Ghanaians. And so people who were for the incumbent government came for me, either respectfully or aggressively. Like, no, that's not the party to be, we even think. And people who were with the opposition were giving me thumbs up. But one thing I noticed was a lot of people really wanted me to actually run for political office, not because it was me, but because they wanted a lot of young people in positions, which I think was quite interesting because I think the continent always puts leadership on hold for older people. Then I announced with the second flyer, and then it just threw everybody through the roof. And then the second flyer also, people on the other side were happy always to welcome me, and I still realized that people wanted young people to be in power. And so when I finally went through my comments and I saw the impressions, some of the things I learned from the experiment was, one, if we get the same support for the creative arts, we'll achieve more than the politicians. Young people are really politically driven, but are not given the mandate to be able to do it practically. That has been my
social
my social experiment.
Well, then my follow-up question is, are you going to heed the people's call?
Never say never.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Never say.
But now, that aside, I am curious. Do you think there's space for entertainers in politics?
I think there's space for anybody with political experience, the political acumen and resume to be able to run. I don't think it should be about being an entertainer. That's a different playing field. If you want to be there, you should know about governance, you know about the economy, you should know about what are the driving mechanisms of that space. And so, unless, of course, you have experience in entertainment and the field you're moving into politically has to do with entertainment, because, of course, Minister of Sports, there's arts, there's the creative economy. And so politics touches on everything, man, from religion to agriculture to finance. And so if you have what it takes in a space that you can deliver and you're called on to lead, and you know you can lead very impeccably, I think you should do it.
So now let's bring it back to in America. I know you've got a couple of tours coming up, a couple of venues you want to do. Yeah. Talk to us about that.
In the past, I've done Echo Stage. You know, I've done BB King's in New York. I've done Edem Plaza. All over the years, I've done places. What I really want to do this time around is to have people experience me on a very intimate level. And I say intimate level because I want to grow organically here. On Easter Sunday, we would be doing a show, and I'm sure just for 100 people. And after that, it's going to be a roller coaster of activities and activations from clubs to events, and by summer, it'll get crazy.
Well, as we wrap up, Edem, once again, you've worked with a lot of young artists, and I say that because I've seen a lot of young artists speak well of you.
Thank you.
Lovely and revealing.
Guys, make sure you say it on live TV.
What words would you have for them, the youth?
So I tell people that one of the most powerful things we have as a continent is we have freedom to create. We don't have labels telling us we think you should create this type of sound or you shouldn't create this type of sound. And I believe that genres of music were created by labels and institutions to be able to identify what to play on radio and whatnot. So as an African creative, let your mind travel. Think free. All the exposures and all the forms of music we have on the continent, let us use it. And as a young artist, always remember that your talent is a gift from God, and so you don't need anybody's validation to continue to create, man.
Well, Edem, appreciate you taking time out.
Thank you for having me. Follow me on social media. It's I am Edem GH on Instagram, IAMEDEM. Follow me on Twitter. It's I am Edem. Let's go get him.
You heard it there, ladies and gentlemen. Edem in the building. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
All right, appreciate it, man.